Hello YouTubers, welcome to AnneBetty's kitchen. So upon popular demand, today's menu is AnneBetty's homemade Bofrot or puff. Stop buying the ready mix and the store-bought one. You don't know when they made it. Make it fresh in your home and smell the sweet aroma. Wake up the kids, wake up your neighbors with that sweet aroma. So back home in Ghana, normally people have Bofrot with hausa cocoa is porridge made with millet, and it's usually very early in the morning. It sends me back to my childhood where we wake up early in the morning to the tune of one lady who used to make the Bofrot, the donuts, and she would say hello, 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 and we know that it's ready. So today, hello people, come, let's cook. So usually there are two types of Bofrot. We got one that you knead and roll like how you make bread rolls, then you fry it. And we've got one that you use a lot of liquid or water, so you have to scoop it out and fry. So I'm going to teach you the one you have to scoop out and fry. This is the authentic one. This is how Bofrot started, and people got innovative and brought about the other one. So we are starting with this recipe, then later on I'll bring you the other one. So we begin with our yeast. So for Bofrot recipe, for this type, you use 2 cups of water, and out of the 2 cups of water, I'm using half a cup to activate my yeast, and I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 tablespoon of salt. I use the pink Himalayan salt. I've got 1 egg, 50 grams of melted butter. You can leave the butter and rub in like how we did with the pie. If you haven't watched the pie dough recipe, you can watch how I rub in the butter for the pie. And this is vanilla extract, just to give it that nice aroma. And I've got 1 tablespoon of dry yeast, 150 grams of sugar, 500 grams, which is about 3 cups of bread flour. So I use that strong white bread flour, whichever brand you prefer. I prefer this brand. It's really good. So bread flour, yeast always goes with bread flour. So whenever you are baking and the recipe calls for yeast, remember it goes with bread flour, hard flour. And you can use 100 grams of dry skimmed milk, or you can use liquid. I prefer to use the evaporated milk, so I'll be using the evaporated, but I was just telling you this in case you don't have the evaporated milk, you can use the dry milk powder. To activate the yeast, I'm using a 1/4 teaspoon of the sugar. Sugar helps activate the yeast. And I just add the yeast to it. So I'm going to cling film it just for it to rise. This is just to speed up the process. But if you're not in a hurry and you're doing it overnight, you don't need to do this. You can just mix up all the dry ingredients together and leave out the salt, because salt slows down the activeness of the yeast. So you can omit this process if you're not in a hurry. I want it to rise quickly, that's why I'm doing this. So I'll let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes for the yeast to rise. This will hasten the process. So in goes our flour. This has already been sifted, but if this is what I use in sifting, and in goes the flour. I didn't talk about my nutmeg. I need 1 tablespoon of nutmeg, and what I do is with nutmeg, when you grind it yourself, you get the aroma. And I've got this nutmeg grinder. It's so cool. You see, I use the nutmeg grinder to grind it, and this is 1 tablespoon of nutmeg. I'm going to sift it so that if there are any bits and pieces. So we'll come out with the baking soda. Sift it up. I'm just using my spatula. You can just use your hand. If you don't have the spatula, you can just use your hand. I'm adding all my dry ingredients. Here goes the sugar, that's brown sugar, and the salt. And now I'm going to add my wet ingredients together. 1 cup of the evaporated milk. And I drink good hemp milk. So you can use whatever milk you use regularly, or you can add water. I'm mere fancy, I don't add water, but you can add water to it. So remember I said in all, you need 2 cups of water. But because we've used half for the yeast, I'm going to measure it to 1.5. So I'm adding half to it. We've got 1.5, and I'm going to add the other wet ingredients. So in goes our egg. We put in our egg, our butter, it's melted, remember, and our vanilla extract. So you see our yeast has been activated and it's risen. In it goes. Because it's been activated, now it will work as it should. And so it was activated for about just 5 minutes. You don't need long. And I'm going to add my wet ingredients. And remember, you can use the spatula or use your hand. I'm going to use my hand just to show you that if you don't have the spatula, or if you don't have the dough mixer, I've got a mixer, but I want to prove to you that you can do it without any kitchen equipment. So I'm just mixing it with my hand. So you have to heat it this way to get the gluten. Once you have the gluten, it makes it nicer. So yeah, it's ready. I'm going to cover it and leave it to proof for about an hour or for about 2 hours, let me say. So that's the color because of the brown sugar. The one I previously made, I used white sugar just to show you the difference in color. So this will proof about 2 hours, and we fry it. I'm going to cling film it so it rises. So look at the difference in color. This one was made 2 hours ago, and you see how it's risen. It's well proofed, and I'm going to fry it. And this is the one that was made with the brown sugar. So just see the difference in color. So if you do it with the brown sugar and you get this color, don't be scared. It's more healthy. But if you use the white sugar, if you don't want this color, use the white sugar. This has been well covered. Then I put on a tea towel. You can ignore this step if you're going to leave it overnight, because you don't need to rush it. I need to rush it because I want to fry it quickly. So then you put it somewhere warm. So you have to beat it down. See the bubbles? Then we fry it. So this is just to reactivate the gluten. For those of you who are not comfortable with dough, you can use your ice cream scoop. So I just greased it with just a bit of oil. And that's the one with the spring. So I just scoop, and there it goes in. Let me try one more, then I'll use my hand to show you. The one I put in earlier is done. You have to be fast with this because it cooks really quick. Side, then in it goes. You have to be really fast because it cooks really quick. Yeah, so now I'm just turning it. You have to turn it on both sides. And today I'm not using my deep fryer, just to prove to you that if you don't have a deep fryer, you can still deep fry, because this is deep frying, but I'm doing it in my pan, not in the deep fryer. Because a lot of you have been asking, what do I do if I don't have a deep fryer? This is what you do. You just use any pan you will use for your deep frying. So even though I use the strainer to strain it after it comes from the oil, I use a tissue, a paper towel, to drain, soak in the oil, because it's deep frying, so oil it soaks it out. And you can coat it up with sugar. This is coconut sugar. So you can coat it up if you've got a sweet tooth like me. I don't do this always, but sometimes when I want to be naughty, I do that. So you can go with sugar, or this way it's ready to eat. So this is one way of making the Bofrot. I'll be bringing you the other method soon. So if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. And if you like what you've seen, like it. Leave some comments. Let me know how you feel when you try it, how it went, or if you've got any questions, leave me a comment and I'll answer them. And hit on the notification button so you know firsthand whenever a new video is uploaded. And people have placed in their orders. So what people do now is they ask me when I'm going to film and what I'm preparing, and they place their orders. So people have placed in their orders. So if you like what you see and you're having an event and you want us to cater for you, give us a call. All the contact details are in the description button below, and the ingredients are in the description button as well. So if you follow and you didn't get all the ingredients, look in the description button and you can get it all. Blessings.